Hello and welcome to another episode of Beyond Loss, Loving Life with Karen Chaston. I'm Karen Chaston and it's so great to have you here today on these beautiful, amazing Facebook platforms. And today I have the beautiful guest, Scott Carson. So let me bring him in. Hi, Scott. So great to see you.
Hey, Karen, how are you? Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, it's so great to be here. But the thing is, so for everyone, it doesn't look like many have come on yet, but they will. So Scott helps men through emotional opportunities. But before we deep dive into what all that is about, Scott, I want you to tell you, because there's over 40 different loss events that can affect our lives, which means we're all going to have multiple loss events in our lives. And some of us seem to be able to learn the traits on how they can live and love their life after it. But a lot of people get stuck in the events of their life, the losses in their lives, and they just can't find it really hard to move beyond it and to create that thriving life that we all can have. So tell me a little bit about your story.
Wow. Okay. So where do you want to start? I'll give you a brief bio on me and just share what it's like. So I was on the streets at 14, a rat bag kid whose single mum had a lot of trouble looking after him, and I was causing a lot of chaos. So I ended up, living between garden sheds and couch surfing for a while. Then a family eventually took me in. That beautiful family unit of 5 gave me another alternate way of living, and showed me what a family unit can look like. So,
how old were you when they took you in?
15. So,
okay.
Yeah. So there's a few months in between there. So, yeah. So, sorry, just diving back there. It's a pretty interesting time. So, moving along, I've travelled when I was in my 20s and came back and ran a business. And I can't remember exactly. So it's about 10 years ago now, nearly 10 years ago, I had quite a successful business, steel fixing. And just before the birth of my son, I was going to sell the business to one of my good mates that I grew up with. And I did the deal on a handshake.
Oh.
And because he's one of my great mates.
Yeah.
Was one of my great mates. And the birth of my son was coming up. And so I was going to take a month off. And I'd planned that because my wife is from Slovakia, beautiful country, and she didn't have any support. So basically at that point in time, I was going to get him to look after the business, and I was set up quite beautifully that a week before we're going to, my son was going to have Oscar, he dumped it on me that basically put me in a very difficult position, which I ended up being extremely crook. So the birth of my son, I was there for the labour, and as soon as he was born, I did the first nappy and they threw me out of hospital. So for the first week of his life, I wasn't there, and I wasn't there to support my wife. I didn't actually know whether or not I wanted to be a father, and I was really scared of it.
Yeah, which is understandable. I think most people are scared when their first child's coming. Yeah.
It was more so to do with the way I grew up and the way I was.
Okay.
Because I was a wild child.
So you thought he would be the same, and that's what you didn't want to go through, or?
I didn't want to be the same as my father.
Yeah.
So, at the very first hurdle, I failed.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, I then had to deal with a business that was in ruins, which took a huge emotional toll. Just as I was starting to get back on my feet, don't know, I live in Melbourne, and if you know Melbourne well, the Yarra River runs through the Melbourne. So We it was the day before Mother's Day, and we chucked the bikes on the back of the car, drove into the city, rode into Port Melbourne, across the South Melbourne market, had a beautiful lunch, cruised over to St Kilda, sat down, watched the footy for a bit while Oscar fell asleep, and then coming back, and we stopped off at the Lindt chocolate bar, and we had. Marcel had a coffee. I had a double hot chocolate, and little man had his baby chino. And we're riding back to the car. And we're about a minute from the car, and I heard a noise, and I didn't have to turn around to know what had happened. Turn around, my wife's lying there with blood pouring out of her head and out of her mouth. Look at the Yarra River, the bike path, and the freeway. I'm on my knees with my wife in my right arm, my 2-year-old son in my left arm. And nobody stopped. People kept running and riding past. I'm in the middle of the city, and it took over 20 minutes to get an ambulance to us.
Oh my God. So has she been hit, or was it a...
No, she passed out, the handlebars twisted, and she catapulted her over the handlebars.
Oh my God.
So with her helmet on, it took a long time for her to recover, to be able to walk and talk again. And I'll never forget the day that Oscar finally came in to see her after a few months of not seeing her. He didn't want to go near her.
Oh.
Which was huge pain for her. So we pretty much lost everything after that. But I had a burning desire to change society. The two things, as a man, we're meant to protect with everything we've got.
Mm.
Nobody helped. Nobody stopped. Everybody just kept running and riding past. And that is burnt into me like no tomorrow.
Oh my God.
That's our society, and that's why I'm on an absolute mission to share that, because we fear pain.
Mm.
We fear other people's pain.
Mm.
And it's like, are you okay day? The beautiful Helen Glover put up a post this year talking about, everybody says, are you okay?
But they don't want to know.
No, who's brave enough to answer that honestly?
Yeah, no.
Who's brave enough to sit there and listen to the answer? You're
so right. Because I was talking to a lady, and she said to me, she's a manager in a big company, and she said to me, I asked someone how they were, and they told me. Like, how am I meant to deal with that? Like, I don't want them to tell me. And I'm like, well, why did you ask? And it's like, if you ask someone how they are, isn't it about saying, them answering you? She goes, no, it was just a formality. I'm going, no, it's not. It's time for us to understand that we need to know how to answer that if someone comes and tells you how they are. And that's why we're so connected, because we help people to move beyond anything that they're going through in their lives, emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually. And that's what I feel this whole 2020 has been about. It's about helping us to actually reconnect to our love, to our wisdom, and to our power. Not the power where we can be over someone else. It's the power where we can actually be able to stop and help someone in that situation you were in.
100%. Our society is built, and I'll just do it quickly on, everyone talks about the pyramid, and, like we live in a pyramid, we're always trying to get to the top. When we get to the top, we look down, there's nothing there for us to accomplish. So what we do is we put that pressure down. So at the moment, there's two triangles, yeah. This is our current society. pressure getting pushed down, and it's broken. The true society in which we're building is support one another. One person, make them so strong that they wedge themselves into the ground. Then they can support 2 people, which then can support 4, 16, 32, 64, 128. All of a sudden, we've got an infinite amount of opportunity just from working through our pain and then supporting 2 others. Don't even need to support 2, just support 1, you know? And that's the key to it. And that's what we're doing. That's why we have these conversations. You know? Like there's no taboo anymore. We talk about everything, you know? And that's how we grow. Because if we don't talk, we don't communicate, we don't find new lessons and opportunity, we end up with the same thing. You know? Definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
Yeah. And we've been going on for centuries and centuries, and nothing has really changed. You know, people don't want to talk about loss. You know, everything that I do is like, oh, don't want to talk about it, don't want to think about it. You know, I might catch it if I actually talk about it. It's just so silly. So have you got the comments up on your screen? Because we've got a few people.
No, I don't. Because I'm coming in off my iPad, and I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. Can you see the comments or no?
No, I can't. If you flick them up, I'll have a quick look.
You should be able to click on the side and get comments up, no?
Okay. Normally, but I'm actually coming off the iPad.
Oh, okay.
Isn't allowing me to do that today. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's all right. So let's read some of them. So hello, Tammy. Hi, Kerry. And they're just saying hi, Karen and Scott.
Hey.
Hi, Claire. Okay. Now, Claire has written, thank you, Scott, for sharing and opening up for us, for all that you have been through. Namaste. You're a wonderful, caring, brave man. And I've got to agree with what she has to say. She's also thanking me for being here. So Tanya has said, I hear you. Big cities, you don't get that in rural or country towns. It's happening to me in Sydney with my dying mother. She collapsed on her way to treatment. Not one person stopped to help. Wow. I'm blown away by both of your conversations, because I've never lived in Melbourne. Obviously, I've visited Melbourne, but I've lived in Sydney like half my life. And I was actually, when you were telling my story, I was actually thinking it'd be different in Sydney. But, oh, my God, Tanya, thank you for highlighting the fact that it's not, which is really sad. I just can't believe it. You know, the funny thing is that I was in Prague riding a bike in 2018. Yeah. And all of the group, there was, I think there was 10 of us or something. And I'm hopeless on a bike, I have to tell you. And that's because I grew up in a large family. We had 2 bikes between us. So we didn't have much opportunity to actually get my skills happening when I was younger. But anyway, that's my excuse. And I sort of did the push. I put both of the brake and everything on at once. And I didn't go all the way over the handlebars, but I went right into me. But I had people stop. I had people stop and help me, apart from the group that we were with. So that's why I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it. So maybe it says something about Australians. I don't know. Because I was surprised.
But through Europe, there's more of a village mentality. Like there's small villages spread out rather than the big cities. In the big cities, like I lived in France for a little while, and you know, Paris is so different to anywhere else in France because it's a big city and people are just so busy on the hustle and bustle, prioritizing themselves over everything else that, you know, it's horrible. Like I'll just quickly, and I want to thank, who was that? Was it Tracy?
That was Tanya.
Tanya, thank you so much for sharing that. And I fully appreciate and understand what happened there, because my mother is actually late stage diabetic. She was in the city working in the bank, and, you know, she's going into the city. She had a fall in peak hour. People kept walking over the top of her. 3 homeless people went and picked her up and helped her out. God. People were walking over her. That's our society. That's how we live. And it's just disgusting.
So sad.
Yeah, but
it's time for us to get back to love. Not only love for ourselves, but love for others.
100%. And it can be as simple as smiling. I know we're dead live, but I'm just going to be half a sec because I'm going to get something to bring smiles. Because
no, that's fine. I can keep talking as long as you like, Scott.
Oh, look, I love that. And look, we could probably both talk underwater, but that's what makes us us. So,
yes, exactly.
You know, like, so during COVID, right? So I've been getting around with this on, right?
Okay. Yeah, I love it.
Because we just got to smile more. It's
And
as
what's
easy as
people's
that.
reaction when they see that?
Kids will laugh. Kids would smile at me. If you want
Yeah.
to find out what real reactions are and what real people think, work with kids. They're straight up honest. They got no conditioning. I was getting smiles from the kids. Their eyes lit up. So all of a sudden, you know, because one of the big things that I heard through the COVID opportunity is kids were scared of everyone running around with a face mask initially.
Yeah.
So I wear a big smiley on my t-shirt. I wear, you know, a big smilligan because it's just so important. You know, like I wear these socks. You know, so I mean, these have got significant meaning. Those black dots, they
So
represent
talk
our
about that. Talk about the meaning.
Yeah, well, the black dots, they represent our dark days. We all have them. Nobody's getting out of that, right? That yellow, you know that winter sun on your back, that real warmth, that beautiful warmth? That's our community getting around you on the dark days. Because your dark days are generally between your ears, so let's start talking about them. I encourage people to buy the socks so that you can gift them to somebody else because you can't help but put a smile on your face when you're putting them on.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Other people see them and they go, nice socks. You go, actually, thank you so much for noticing. This is what they're about. Because when you share...
the yellow is also the friendship color.
Oh, is really? I didn't know that. So,
yeah. If you want to give flowers to a friend, yellow roses. Yellow flowers because it's a connection color and it's also our solar plexus, which is very much our grounding and our really, it's getting us back into our power and our strength. So there's a lot of yellow. So yellow is a really great color. So yeah, I'm so glad that you did that without even realizing.
Yeah, well, that's cool because I'm on a social health group called Sunday Sessions that I currently, just because of Melbourne being such a difficult opportunity at the moment and pressure everywhere, I've actually backed off. I've backed off for me and I've backed off for other people. So I'm not sitting there, you got to be there, got to be there, got to be there. Because, you know, I love men. Men are awesome, you know, like, and I'm sorry to go off on a tangent, but I every Sunday morning at 6 a.m., you know, we go for a walk, jog or run to spend time, start our weeks off right, you know, talk about whatever we need to talk about. And I think men are doing an amazing job at the moment. They're trying to learn to, and I'm off on a tangent, but that happens.
No, this is what this is about because it's important for men to understand that they can have conversations.
So I'm involved in a lot of things and basically my whole opportunity is to support men. So I work with suicidal men and I'm pretty tired of being downriver. So I'm going upriver and trying to fix the bridge because that's a pretty important place to be right now. So I'm bringing up different opportunities. But one of the things we do at the moment inside the Victorian Brotherhood is for men. It's not just for men in Victoria. It started out that way, but because of the impact of it, it's global. It doesn't matter. So we had two of the brothers from the Brotherhood commit suicide within 24 hours. We didn't catch them. This hurt. It hurt a lot because we pride ourselves on catching our brothers. And everybody's raising a glass to keep, you know, honor their mate. Raise a glass, honor their mate. And myself and Vaughan Williams sat down and said, no more. We're not raising a glass anymore. We're going to raise a pen. So we created the hashtag raise a pen.
Yep.
So that when something happens in life, sit down, write it down, and then honor these men by doing something about them. Make their lives count. Do everything you can to find the answers to your problems. You know, like too many things these days are celebrated with the glass. grandparents when they're, or parents when their kids are born, celebrate, raise a pen, sit down and write down how you feel. Share the emotion and the beauty that's inside you, and then gift it to that child. Give them something that they can have so they know they're loved, so they know they've given this beautiful gift. Because inside each of us is actually a gift, which I'll get into a little bit later. But like it's, raising a pen. We live in a society where we just raise a glass to everything, Maybe it's time to look at that and go, what can we honestly do? Because, so with the raise a pen, 4 nights a week, 7:30 p.m., I sit down in a Zoom room with a minimum 20 blokes, and they go until 1 p.m., 1 a.m., and men are sitting there sharing their stories. We're being open, learning how to use our emotions, holding space for one another. And I just want to give a massive kudos to men. And just to everybody, really, because mental health wasn't a subject 10 years ago. It wasn't a topic that we're talking about it now. We've evolved so much and been put under so much pressure from social medias and all the different opportunities that we're now breaking. So we're needing to understand what's going on so we can decompartmentalize. I can never get that word out. And we have to learn to talk so we can actually express our emotions and understand each other, because we are the gift in life. Our stories matter.
You're the givers and women are the receivers. And we've had this conversation before. And it's true. People, like, I can remember years ago hearing that the women's movement in the 60s, the problem was that it made strong women, but it also weakened the men, because the men were like, well, what's my role in society now? And, I'm not allowed to open a car door. I'm not allowed to, women aren't ready to be the receivers that they were before. And that's the thing which really blew men out even more into, well, what am I meant to do? Like, I can't even talk about my feelings. I don't have this place to actually even express the fact that I don't feel, the way I used to, or who knows how I'm meant to feel. So good on you for creating a space for people to be able to not only write down their feelings, but then to be able to express them out loud. Because I'm pretty sure when you first started it, most of them were like, yeah, I'm fine. I feel good. Yeah, I'm okay. Nothing much is happening in my life, just the usual. I'm sure they didn't say much at all. Like, how it is. That probably was it. You know how it is.
100%. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay. And
so can you share some of the things that they're saying? Obviously, if you can, and we respect the fact.
Definitely. Look, I'm really proud of the guys. Like, there's the stuff that's going on. Guys are reconnecting with their fathers. There's guys that have been sexually abused that have actually got somewhere safe to talk about it. There's nothing that's not spoken about. We've had guys who are unemployed and we've helped them get their jobs. We've had guys who have not seen their daughters. We've had guys whose children have passed away, and that's a tough one, Karen. I know you understand that, because here's the thing, right? People, that's happened to you. And who wants to talk to you about it? No one actually wants to sit there and understand the pain, right?
No, they don't. No one. And then I say my program's called The Gift of Loss, and they're going, what? How can your program be called The Gift of Loss? You lost your son. And I'm going, yeah, it's the gift. It's not the gift of, it's not the loss event. It's who you become after the loss event. And you have a choice. Exactly. And believe me, I've done a lot of writing. I've done a lot of journaling. I even created my The Elements Collection gratitude journals, because writing a gratitude journal when you have any sort of loss in your life actually is the greatest way for you to heal.
Absolutely. It's funny, like it's we talk about it with the guys about gratitude and the importance of it. And but it's the specificity in the gratitude that makes it even better and stronger.
Yeah.
Because the specificity allows you to be like really appreciative. You know, like I'm so grateful for the coffee, the smell of the coffee. You know, awesome. Cup of coffee. I'm grateful for the land that was given so that we could plant the seed.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for the farmer who planted the seed. I'm grateful for the farmer who watered and nurtured the garden. I'm grateful for the farmer who packed it up into a box and then put it onto a transport. And I'm grateful for that transport company that then delivered it to the market.
That's
I'm grateful
it.
for the people who worked in the market that sold those coffee beans, which were then exported. So I'm grateful for all the cargo throughout the world, because otherwise I wouldn't get the coffee bean to here. Then I'm grateful for the warehousing that the coffee went into. Then I'm grateful for the company that bought those coffee beans, and then to the shop,
Yeah.
where they put them on the shelf. I'm grateful to the person putting it on the shelf, because otherwise I couldn't have this coffee.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Scott, because that connects everyone even more by actually doing those steps. And it is a chain, but we forget the chain because all we see is the end result. We don't see how it got there. And that's how we connect the world. That's beautiful. I love that. Thank you.
You're right, and more than welcome. So that's a pen, yeah? We agree that's a pen?
Yep.
We agree we write with a pen?
Yep.
You agree that's a black pen, yeah?
Well, it looks black to
Sort of,
me.
yeah, sort of black.
Black and white. Yep.
It's a black pen.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but you know, there's absolutely no way known we can think about this pen the same way. Because we've all written different letters. We've all done different signatures. We've all done different assignments. We've all had different thoughts. We're all pens. We have all had different experiences. We've all had different opportunities. So we can't possibly know what somebody else is thinking. Here's the secret to
all feeling.
Yeah, feeling. But here's the secret.
Oh my God, I hate it when people tell me how I'm feeling. I'm going, no, you don't know how I'm feeling.
No, but I can listen. And that's where do you know the most expensive liquid in the world is ink?
Oh, wow.
So we are pens, because inside us is the most expensive gift that we can give. It's actually us. If you share your stories, your pain, your wins, so that we can all learn, that's the greatest gift you can ever give anybody. Ever. You know? We are all pens. We are all our greatest gift if we're prepared to sit down and tell our story.
Beautiful. Now, I'm going to ask you, how is your wife now?
How is my wife now?
Take her? I know you showed me your wife.
Beautiful.
No, but how long did it help her to come back and recover from the accident?
Look, basically it was 6 months on the physical and getting dialogue. There was still a lot of time there where, you know, it's still having opportunities. I mean, I wish she had more support moving forward, because that was something that was quite difficult for us. One of the things that did happen is we actually went to a GP to have a discussion about going on a mental health plan, so we can get some support. And it was her GP, and we walked in, sat down, myself, Marcella and Oscar. My hands are like that. But we sat down with the GP and said, hey, listen, you guys, what are you here for? I said, oh, we're here to go on a mental health plan. And he goes, oh, why's that? I said, you know, Marcella's had an accident. We think it's the best thing to do. He goes, oh, I know your wife. She's fine. I said, okay, thank you. I walked out. So, and this is a tough conversation right now because my wife is actually sitting right over here. So, like, because we're in Melbourne, and it's, you know, so that hurt. It really hurt, you know. And
I bet.
I think, especially being how both you and I are, Karen, and how there's nothing we can't talk about, I don't have that same opportunity, which makes it very difficult at times.
Yeah. So, and I'm going to expand it even further, because you mentioned that Oscar, when he first saw his mum, your beautiful wife, after not seeing her for a couple of months, he obviously went into a bit of an abandonment.
So much so that his teeth that were growing through became chalk through stress.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So when his teeth came through, his adult teeth, we've got to monitor those with a lot of tender care because they were all rotten. So there was a really stress and pain, if not worked through, becomes a really big blaring things.
And most of the time, people wouldn't even realise that he was in abandonment.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, I don't know if you're aware of this. When I was 16, I adopted a daughter out. And she is in my life. And if I knew at 16 what I know now, I certainly would never have adopted her out. And she does have abandonment issues. And there's this amazing book which is called the wound. Oh, it's not called The Adoptive Womb. It's gone out of my head, but it's actually a book about adoption and abandonment and how the women, how the child goes through it. I'll find the book and I'll post it in here, and I'll also send it to you because it may be a good book for both you and your wife to read about your son, because the things that come up, even though you're still in his life, he will still have those issues that may come up from time to time. And one of the major things that adopted children have because of abandonment is trust issues. Yeah. So that may be something that you will find, and you can understand it, like, in my case, my mother gave me away. So why would I trust anyone else? If I can't trust my mother, and you can understand it. So even though he was only away from his mother for a short amount of time, compared to like my daughter, I met her when she was 27. There are a lot of things that it's called the primal wound, WOUND. I'll send you the link and I'll put it in here later. But it's really is an eye opener for me. But yeah, I just was guided to share that with you.
No, brilliant. Thank you. Like it's definitely interesting because it's one of the things that I process everything with Oscar, and we took nothing's off the table. Like I had to have a conversation with a 9-year-old about cocaine.
Okay.
You can't look. My golden rule is there's no rule. There's a chain between Oscar and I. Right? Yeah. That if I lie, I'll break it. He lies, he breaks it. Mm-hmm. Break it too many times, I can't fix it. I can weld it back together, but over time, that stretches and it's not repairable. Yeah. So he came home from school and there's nothing off the table, like in us. And I said, Dad, what's cocaine? I'm like, okay, can you explain to me the context and how this conversation came about? He goes, yeah, no worries. I said, well, the kids were talking about it at school and they were trying to make it with rocks.
I've got 9-year-olds.
Yeah, this is what they're talking about at school, right? Wow. So, and I'm like, okay, cool. My golden principle is that I don't want him learning stuff in the schoolyard. So, I built up the trust over time to be able to have these conversations about anything, And I said, mate, thank you so much for coming to talk to me. Look, the fact that you don't know means everything to me, and the fact that you trust me to have these conversations means the world to me. So, actually, cocaine's a drug. People use it to numb themselves. Generally because they want to escape from life.
Yeah.
Your life's going pretty well. I think you're pretty good. I said, so what was the scenario that happened? And so we went through the scenario, and it's funny because I wanted to talk to the parents and I went to write a message to let them all know it's going to happen, and it just wouldn't send. I'm like, interesting. And then I spoke to one parent. She goes, actually what's happened is her child has an older sibling that they've had the conversation about it, so they talked about it. So they've opened an honest conversation. Brilliant. But what's happened from that is because she does have that open conversation, other parents don't.
Yeah.
And it's become a major problem. So if I had sent that message out and the universe didn't allow, then it would have caused a major rift. So, but it's amazing, like this. Trust is something that, for me, you don't have to earn. I give it to you. It's yours to lose. I see that very differently. And I think that approach takes things very differently. So I can see you got some comments coming in.
You can see the comments?
No, I can't. I wish I could.
I can tell by my face.
Yes.
Okay, so Tanya is saying this is awesome for male mental health and being able to talk via internet support, as this would be a hard one for males to go out there and ask for help or talk to someone face to face. Is there a link to join Scott's support group?
Yeah, just the Victorian Brotherhood Facebook group. I suggest everybody, for guys, there's also the public page where women can have a look, see what's going on, and because these conversations are held pretty tightly. They're never recorded.
So what's it called? The
Victorian Brotherhood.
Okay, I'll just type that in the comments.
Yeah, awesome. So I'm coming off my computer, but I'm having an issue, so I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm off the iPad today. So, but it's men will talk if they're given a platform that they feel safe. And every single guy that comes on there, every single guy, at some point feels safe enough to share his story because of the way we facilitate them. We're very, very strict on our respect opportunities, where if somebody's talking, we do not interrupt them at any time. Only the host of the meeting, myself, Vaughan, or Martin, or one of the other guys, actually can talk into a conversation, because the key to communication has got nothing to do with talking. Two eyes, two ears, one mouth. You learn because you listen and see and understand and watch body language and see when people are engaging. They're the skills that if we learn, that's the goal.
Yeah.
And everybody's got a story.
I totally agree. That's what I mainly do with my clients. I listen.
Yeah.
And you know, and it's listening with your heart. And a lot of people don't listen with their heart. They listen to respond, and it's like, no, you just listen. You know, there's no need to respond. They will feel that, you know, there's no need to say, oh, I'm sorry for your loss, or all those sort of things. All you got to do is just listen to them, and that's the best way that you can actually be there for anyone.
100%. And I deal with this a lot, yeah. And it's not about saying anything, and it's actually your presence is everything. Because it's about sitting with, sorry, I don't have the words today. Are you okay if I just sit here with you? The other person will speak. I don't understand.
Yeah.
But I'm here. Thank you for trusting me. Sit. It's not about, that's all we need to. You know, like it's not, and there's nothing to fear, because it's not your story. But if you're brave enough to listen to it, you will learn from their story every single time.
Yeah.
So,
but not only will you learn from it, Scott, you'll also realize that we all have these things in our lives. And sure, the actual story may be slightly different, but they're very similar. In the fact of, oh, this is how it made me feel, or this is how I reacted, or this is how I wanted to react, and all those sort of things. When we realize that we're all so similar, it doesn't really matter. And the difference is the environments that we have either grown up in, or the environments that we find ourselves in now, that really make the difference on how we can move beyond and learn how to live and love our lives. It's the environments that we create. And just because we grew up in an environment that wasn't ideal, we certainly learn a lot from it. If we choose 100%. To look at it,
I couldn't be the gift that I see myself as if I didn't accept everything that I've been through.
Yeah.
I've been through a bit. It's 41 years before I had a family function where there wasn't a fist fight.
Oh, wow.
Like it's the problem isn't the problem. It's how you respond to the problem that becomes either the lesson, the pain, or the opportunity. You get to choose. You can sit in the pain, you can look for the lesson, or you can create an opportunity. It's actually your choice.
Yeah.
Right? That's the key to that. So
yeah,
I'd love to give a gift that it just blew me away when I found this out, when I was told. Nobody ever makes a decision to make the wrong decision.
That's right.
a decision only becomes wrong when you get new information that teaches you otherwise.
Yeah.
Right?
That's exactly what I just said about me adopting my daughter out at 16.
100%.
I made the right decision for who I was at that time.
100%.
Yeah. Now, would I do the same thing now? No, because I now have more information.
So that's the opportunity, right?
Yes. Yes.
And that's perfectly okay, because one of the things, so I'll put together a new program which I'm really proud of, and I'm really looking forward to bring to people, just because of the things I do, ancestral alchemy, where I help men reconnect with their fathers, I help fathers reconnect with their sons, I help people work through the opportunities, and it's simply by seeing things through a different set of eyes.
Yeah. Different perspective. Yep.
100%. Because once you can see it through a different set of eyes, it gives you an opportunity to see where the gap is, because there's always a gap, and I'm trying to get my camera thing right. I should know this. I use StreamYard all the time, but it depends if I've been on Zoom or not. So, but basically in life, you've got where you are right now, right? Where you want to be.
Yeah.
The story in between.
Yeah.
And the only way in which you can get through that is by taking action. Small action steps consistently.
Yep.
Small action steps, and all of a sudden, you find yourself where you need to be.
You got to keep closing that gap, closing that gap, closing that
100%.
gap.
But
that's what it's about, is closing that gap.
Yes, but here's the beautiful thing, right? There's people like you around to help people close the gap, because we quite often, you can only close the gap once you start learning the tools, right? So you've got to go to people, understand things. Behind me is a Campfire. Right? I'm a massive part of the Campfire project. I love it. Karen, you're a part of the Campfire project, because we learn from each other and learn properly. But it's all those little gifts we get along the way when we listen to other people's experiences that we truly grow. Hey, nice work with that. That's good.
I know, that was so well done, wasn't it? Just like,
I love it.
I'll leave it up now. Yep.
We're upskilling like no tomorrow. but that's been the opportunity of COVID, and I'm going to go backwards a bit, because I want to talk about something that just because I turned around and
Okay, I am listening. Someone's asked me to write the name of the book. So I'll type that while I'm listening.
Well, actually, I'll do this while I'm talking, because during COVID, a gentleman whose 7-year-old daughter passed away through missed opportunity and a few other difficult things, which was really hard to take. I've been fortunate enough to spend some time with him, and basically none of his mates have spoken to him since, because they don't know how to talk about it, which is a shame, but we've got him inside our group, and he's now a major part of that. But I do a presentation called The Importance of Important. Mm-hmm. And so if it's all right with you, I'm going to read something.
Please.
Off with a yowl, a wail and a howl, a scatter of paws and a clatter of claws. When Schnitzel von Krumm with a very low tongue, bits of Maloney all skinny and bony, Muffin McClay like a bundle of hay, bottomly pots covered in spocks, Hercules Morse as big as a horse, and Harry McClary from Donaldson's Dairy.
Beautiful.
He held his daughter while she passed away, reading that book.
Oh.
He wasn't in her life because he chased his business dreams, and it cost him his marriage.
Yeah.
The importance of important is so significant, it's not funny.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't take time to actually work out what's important to us and chase it, we lose it.
We do. I totally agree. I say all the time that there's these people who are, the whole life is climbing that ladder, but they get to the top of that ladder and they look around and they go, I'm all alone. They've either burnt relationships on the way, or they've burnt, whatever they've done to get there. And I always think of oh, why is his name got out here? You know, Apple, Steve
Steve
Jobs. Yeah. You know, you sort of look at him, he had all the money in the world, but, you know, he didn't have great relationships with his family. Like he even ignored one of them for years and years and years until he got that DNA test. And then he said, oh, I'm still going to ignore you for a while. It's only when he got sick. You know, it's so sad.
Because he wouldn't have the tough conversations that would allow him to actually be involved in those relationships.
Yeah, because he was too busy chasing the money. And that didn't help him when he got sick.
Spend time with the dying.
Yeah.
And they have the same top 10 regrets.
Yeah, the 5 regrets of the dying. Yeah, I know. Have you read that book, The 5 Regrets of the Dying?
I haven't read it, but I've read the bits and pieces, and I spend enough time with Kylie to know what the regrets are.
Yeah. Yeah. Number one is I wish I had allowed myself to live the life that I wanted to live. You know, so many people are living someone else's lives, you know, whether it's their parents or whether it's their wife or their partner or whatever. It's like, no, you got to live your life.
100%. And it's, you know, like finding out what's important is a difficult thing, you know, like it's, but the only way you can do that is to go through other people's pain so you can sort of hear and understand and see what you don't want. Because that's the easiest way to do that, you know, like pain's here to teach us if we're brave enough to sit with it. So, and that's during COVID, you know, like I'm in Melbourne, we got locked down, started COVID.
Twice.
Okay, twice, yeah, 100%. And I go, okay, so what do? Do I chase money, put pressure on my family, which is, I had to choose between emotional pressure and financial pressure. And I chose to support my family emotionally. Because I could
And you were looked after, weren't you? You were financially looked after, weren't you?
I had enough. I've got enough. You know, we just negotiated things, you know, like it's fascinating because, you know, I love my kid. He's awesome. And, you know, if you ever want to watch me under pressure, go to the Campfire Project and watch my 9-year-old son interview me. Held me for 53 minutes. And he hit me with some big questions. Dad, what are your values? Why are they important? I'm like, okay, why is that? But it's just, you know, it's like you can fix a financial situation. You can't fix a broken marriage and a broken relationship. It takes too much. So weigh up your consequences. What's easier? You can always get another job, right? It's harder to get another marriage. It's harder to bring back from the brink the relationship with a kid, and you'll never get that time back. So
you'll never get that time back. You know, obviously, I went through that deep dive in regards to my son. He was 27, and you know, and you part of my process is you go through the whole relationship. And, you know, you find the good and the not so good and you sort of work through it. And, you know, some of it was, I wish I'd been around more when he was younger. You know, I wish, you know, I'd done gone on those holidays that we said we were going to go on and then for some reason didn't do. All those little things, but you can't get them back. Sure, I can go on the holidays now, but, you know, not with Dan, obviously, even though he comes spiritually, he's always with us. And he shows up in photos all the time.
Where does he sit? Where does he sit on your body? Because I'm a firm believer that when you love someone so much and they're no longer here, you can feel them on your body somewhere. My grandmother sits here.
He's always on my right shoulder. And I know when that is my right shoulder. I know on the film it's not, but it is my right shoulder.
Yeah.
He's always there. And people comment on him being there. I have so many intuitive people in my life and they go, oh, he's on your shoulder. I'm going, yeah. He's always got my back. I always say, and he's pushing me forward and he's going, Mum, you never listened to me when you was alive, so now I'm in charge. And I'm going to plant this idea and I'm going to do, like, I would never have been doing anything like this if he'd still been alive. Who knows? I'd probably still be doing my CFO career and sicker and all that sort of stuff. So much healthier without all that sort of crap. But Scott, what is the one thing that you find when you work with people who are suicidal? What is the one thing that you say to them that can assist them to look differently at where they are?
Okay. So I'm being cautious because I'm not a medical professional. I'm not registered with anybody. I like to think of myself as your last opportunity.
Yeah.
Suicide's an option. Don't say it's not. Don't make people fail further than what they already are. How are you today? Okay, where are we at? Okay, have we ticked all the boxes? What do you mean? Just, I'm okay if, suicide's an option. We're not going to take it off the table. But I just want to know that you've put in place all the bits and pieces you need to put into place to make sure that you're not hurting anyone any more than what you need to. You're in enough pain right now. We don't want to extend that. So are you okay if we just sit down and unpackage that? Mum, dad, kids, brothers, sister, just have we done as much as we possibly can to let them know it's okay? It's important, And it's not, people are in pain. They're not there to, people commit suicide, don't see another way out.
Yeah.
That's what their option is.
Yeah.
So don't make them fail any more than what they are, So give them the help. Let's just make sure we can tick some boxes, So, because
I like that because you're simply just saying, are you sure you've done everything? Like, are you sure that, there isn't something else that you'd like to achieve or something else that I
tend not to go into achievements.
Yeah, I can
tend
understand
to go into the relationships. I tend to go to the love points, right? Because that's love points are so in my little world inside my ears, you only need one tiny grain over love, love over fear, and love will always succeed.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
You can't have
tiny grain. So, can I share with you my pet hate? And
please.
I hate the word narcissist and I hate the word toxic.
Yeah, I don't like narcissist.
I'll share with you why.
It's only a common word that's come out lately. You hear it all the time.
Yeah, because it gives power to other people and it doesn't allow people to be responsible for the way in which they are acting. So anybody sits there and goes, "You're a toxic," whatever, it's incorrect. You're a narcissist. Great, thank you. Go and find out why you think they're a narcissist, and then have a good look at yourself, because it's triggering you, right?
We reflect each other. Yeah,
100%. But our triggers are here to teach us.
Yeah.
The number one thing I teach the guys is, why am I triggered? Sit down and write down, because you can't possibly be angry when you're curious.
Yeah.
Take the pain out of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Sorry, I'll talk a bit and like that.
No. This is beautiful, because that's exactly what this conversation is all about, and it's and everyone's been great in their comments and actually reaching out and saying what they wanted to know, what the name was of the Victoria, your Victorian brotherhood and all that sort of stuff, which I just love. So Oscar's 9 now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wow. Exciting times ahead. So exciting times. There's no challenge.
I can't wait. Opportunity to grow.
Oh, yeah. And that's one thing that did come up before when you were saying the lessons. Now, and you probably don't know this, I love to break down words. Yes, I'm an accountant, so I love my maths. But I have to say that since I've been doing what I'm doing, I love to break down words, and because our English language actually guides us on how to live and love. So if you look at the word lessons, right? Less on. So when you get the lesson from whatever has happened, it is less on you. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, the whole lot of it, because you've got it and you go, oh, wow, that's the lesson. Right now I can move on. So that is a beautiful word to break down.
It's also putting less on the other person.
Exactly.
You're looking for the lesson.
Exactly. So you're deep diving into you, because it's always your lesson. So the same event, for example, my husband and I, we both lost our son.
Yep.
Okay. But we both had different lessons to learn from that, different people to become from that one event. And it's important for us to understand that both of our ways were right for us. The way we grieved, the way we moved on, the whole lot of it, they were right for us. But so many times people are trying to go, this is the way you've got to do it. It's my way and it's the only way. And that's what's causing so much grief in our world. It's not a right or a wrong way. It's just your way or a different way.
We're all pens.
Yes.
right? Nobody ever has the same experience as any other person. So appreciate that. Appreciate that we've all got different stories. Take the opportunity to learn. Less on.
Yeah, exactly.
So is that
Scott, when
trademarked?
you come into the
That's not
yeah.
trademarked? Hang on a second.
No, you can write it down, but you can have it. Honestly, it's my gift. But it is one of those words, like a lot of people, like impossible, impossible. Less on is the only word, or one of the only words that I've broken down that I have never heard anywhere else. So, but it's your gift to share it with the world, because our whole life is a lesson. Whole experience. I always like to liken our life to us all living in a movie that we have created our own starring role, that we are actually just all going through our movie. We've said, and we'll have you come in and we'll have you do this, and we'll have you come in and you do this, so that I can become the person who I'm meant to become at this time.
7.8 billion people on the planet. It's roughly 8 million to 1 to win Tats Lotto. You're 100 times more likely to win Tats Lotto than you are to run into somebody else. How the hell do you run into people? I'm serious. It is amazing. It's a gift. Every single time you get to know somebody, it's a gift. If you think, Karen, right? How many people do you know on the planet? How many people do you know?
Yeah, well,
right?
I
Maybe
am.
about 1,000? 2,000?
Probably. Well, if you go to my Facebook page, I've got about 2,500. Not that I know them all, but they're all connected. But we're all connected.
But how many people do you really know?
Yeah, exactly. I can tell you right now, there's probably less than a handful.
How many people do you really, really know?
Apart from myself, I would say about 3 people.
Right. So they're the true gift in your life.
Yeah.
If you want to gift yourself something amazing, get to know somebody.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree. Because we don't have those delicious conversations. And actually, to be quite honest, I probably have more than that, but if you had asked me 4 or 5 years ago, I would have said even less. But but there is a lot more now, because I deep dive into people.
I'm doing an interview this week sometime with my 93-year-old neighbour, and I just love her. I adore her. The lessons that she teaches myself and Oscar are phenomenal. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to know her.
That's amazing.
I can't wait to do that. So,
that sounds like that's something that Brendan Bouchard actually tells people to do, is interview your parents. Interview your parents on all of these questions before they pass. And that is on my list to do with my mum. But my mum's in 60. She's in Sydney, and she's 90 now. And I had planned to do it this year for her 90th. But obviously COVID came and all that sort of stuff. But it will happen. She's around for at least a couple more years. So it will definitely happen. So, yeah.
I'm going to say something. Don't wait.
You got a minute?
Don't wait. Get it done.
Well, I want to physically do it. I want to physically see it. Yeah, but thank you. I will.
The difference that it's made to me.
Yeah.
And I just, not just to plug the Campfire a little bit, my life's in the Campfire. This Thursday night, I'm going to share with people my journey this year, because it's been huge.
Awesome.
I've reconnected with my father. That interview's in the Campfire project. The second time we've spoken after a pretty broken relationship for many years. The interview with my son. We had the most beautiful conversation. Does size matter? Yes, we're talking about penis size. We're having a conversation about connection and love.
Has Oscar interviewed your father?
No, they haven't. They've only just seen each other a couple of times. They haven't connected yet. So that's going to happen. Next year, there's a really big thing that we're going to be doing.
Cool. We are running out of time. We are now over time.
Sorry.
Now, that's fantastic. So thank you, Scott. I could talk to you for hours and hours and hours, because what you're doing in the world and how you're helping men to be men, you're helping the whole world. Because when men are true men, then women can be their true selves as well. So thank you.
Can I say thank you? But I'm going to throw that straight back at you, because it doesn't work if we don't work together.
I agree.
And every single person that puts themselves out there to be knocked, to be criticized, by owning their own story, I applaud you, because that's the true love in life, you know.
It is. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for being here. It's been amazing, and thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, anybody watching, and I will go through the comments.
Yeah. Cool.
Chat if there's a...
Excellent. Bye, everyone.